And now we go to the housing minister. You know who the housing minister is?
We have a housing minister?
Yeah.
They're doing a terrible job.
We don't have houses. We've got a housing minister. It's, so her name is Clare O'Neill.
Clare O'Neill. Well, I used to quite like Clare O'Neill. She's kind of lost the plot a bit, but I used to really like it.
These were her comments on the weekend. I think she's done the impossible, which is to undermine the entire government's tax program with
impossible.
one interview.
Pretty possible.
Well, she's done it.
When it's that dumb a program, it's not hard to undermine that.
So she said that this is what the objective of these changes are. We're not scrapping the capital gains tax discount. We're changing the way it's calculated so it's neutral across all asset classes. And then she goes on, the tax system should not create and drive investment decisions for people. Now, at one point I thought it is possible that these Labor politicians periodically visit planet Earth, at least for a coffee. But that demonstrates that she hasn't been here for a very long time, because tax treatment is a huge driver of capital, of profitability.
Well, that was the whole argument, that we were getting rid of negative gearing as it impacts property prices.
So her argument is basically that, contrary to Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers' pitch, that this is designed to make the asset class of housing, a passive asset class,
solve generational
less
inequality.
Attractive to investors. Yeah. That's what they're telling you. This will be less attractive. Her pitch is, no. It's not. This tax will not make any asset class more or less attractive than any other asset class. It's a complete undermining of the whole argument. Now, the journalist did not ask her a single question about this. What network do you think this interview might have been on?
I'm hazarding a guess, the ABC.
Well,
taxpayer funded.
You'd be right.
Yeah.
And so I just find it incredible that this tax has gone from a terrible, I was going to say half-baked, 1/10 baked, ultimately raw idea, I think doing the bidding of Treasury and Treasury's hopes and dreams that were unrealistic
and
for
Treasury's
20
goal,
years.
as we saw, I think Chris Joy mentioned, Treasury's goal is to raise money. And it's the role of the Treasurer to say, actually, politically speaking, this is stupid, or morally speaking, this is stupid. Like Treasury had their way about 100% tax. They'd have billions of dollars to fritter away. But ultimately, you got to do the thing that's expedient for the country. And that isn't raising the most amount of tax. That's actually spending it wisely.
Well, as you said, you'll be happy to know then, for me to remind you, that this raises almost no tax. So we don't have that problem with this particular tax. But you've got a situation now where not only can they not explain the tax, but you've got senior ministers, a minister for housing, undermining the housing fundamentals that are stated as being the core idea of the policy. And then, I don't know if you saw this, I sound like you with this rant, but the Treasury Secretary, I forget
Jenny Wilkinson.
Disgraced
Jenny Wilkinson.
has come. Well, I'm happy that you said that, because
never had a job in private sector in her whole life.
But she's worked for both governments, okay? Governments of both persuasions. And to me,
doesn't it make her any more capable?
But if you can survive 30-something years, I don't even want to comment on her capabilities, because
we know they don't exist.
I don't know about her. Well, I don't know. I don't know about her capabilities.
We've seen by her policy suggestions that don't exist.
Well, what I know is this.
And she's on the RBA board, don't forget. She's speculated as a person wanting to reduce rates on the RBA board. So she's getting it wrong left, right and centre here.
So none of that makes me, like, I know you'll be disparaging of this, but none of that makes me question her capability, because I don't know. Yeah. But I do question this. So she basically came out and said, there is no clear evidence that these tax changes will be detrimental to capital investment and capital flows in Australia. Now, that is not a lie, by the way. That is not a lie, but that is a political statement, because the truthful statement, I'll give you the truthful statement, it is this: there is no clear evidence either way about what these tax changes will do. They may do nothing, but they also may dry up capital flows into Australia, because the research is mixed. However, it's the long version of this. However, there is strong evidence that these type of tax changes reduce the amount of intellectual property and patents registered by countries, and significantly reduce venture capital investment in countries. That's the honest answer. Yeah. Why is she now giving political answers to shield the government?
Role. And she should be a non-politicised neutral role.
I totally
it's
agree.
Disgraceful.
And so I find that shocking.
I think she should be fired, but she's doing the bidding of the people who should be firing us. That's never going to happen in a million years.
She spent 30 years, I think, working for governments of both persuasions. Obviously, she's done a good job of balancing that. I'm just shocked right now that she's come out and said this, and it just reinforces my view that this government has effectively been completely manipulated by the bureaucracy to pass all of their dream changes that there were no chance of anyone getting through.
I think whether it's Charles or Elbow, I think they both potentially wanted to do this. They just didn't think they could do it, and Treasury gave them the cover to do it potentially. We don't know that they didn't plant the seed in Treasury in the first place.
Well, one of Treasury's ideas has been the higher the return of an asset, the higher the tax rate on that asset. It's one of the singularly dumbest ideas you could possibly have if you fundamentally believe in capitalism.
Yeah.
And that's what this system does.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, I'm not going to rant about it anymore, but the depth of depravity of these changes just increases every week.